Hey, what is up guys, Guitar Rock here. I know a lot of you guys are probably still deciding if you want to pull for the best character in the game, Himari. Now let's talk about this, alright? If you play Blue Archive, if any veteran players are playing Blue Archive, you know Himari and Akko are going to be the top 2 supports in the game. And if you know how this game works, supporters are generally just easier to build, easier to use compared to a main damage dealer, right? Because of how elements work, right? And of course, I do recommend you guys to get her. I know Himari is not in the standard banner. I am aware of that. But if you care about the meta, Himari is going to be worth pulling for. Now let me explain. Now first things first, the upcoming event, alright, we're going to have a special mission, a Decagrammaton new episode with Amy. Swimsuit Amy is going to be a new character in this banner. Alongside with that is also Himari. Alright, Swimsuit Amy and Himari are going to be here, as you can see. Alright, so they are both sharing the same banner. So Blue Archive has the PT of 200, right? If you want to PT a character, you need to do 200 pulls and then use that spark, basically. Now, they share the same spark, pretty much. If, let's say you pull for Himari, and then you get 150 pulls, and then you can use 50 more additional pulls to reach the 200 spark, and then just spark for Amy to pretty much get both characters. Sometimes it can be unlucky that you use 200 and you don't get any of the red up characters. That's going to be unfortunate, but you can do that. Now none of these characters are limited, but still Himari is going to be a very strong character that every account needs. Now playing the past Kurokage raids, it just makes me realize how important Himari is for any account generally. Like, it's just not even close. If you look at every other single option that we have right now in the game, Himari is just like the best supporter in the game alongside with Akko, right? So there's just no competition. I tried to build like 2 teams, right? A second team, I can't figure out who to use, right? You know, Akko is a very strong buffer. Himari, what makes her really strong is a combination of buffs right here. This particular buff, she can hyper buff one character, increase attack by 105%, one ally at 3 costs, and she also gives cost regen. Alright, cost recovery 20% is a lot. There's a difference. You can feel the world of difference. Having Himari and not having Himari in your team, you can actually feel the difference. Now, how strong is she? She's really strong, to the point that I almost never not use Himari in any raids. I will use her in every Total Assault, every Grand Assault, like, now that Grand Assault is here, it makes so much sense for you to invest in Akko and Himari, because investing in damage dealers is going to be very expensive. You got to invest in the explosive type, which is the red color. You got to invest in mystic type, which is a blue color, alright? And then you got to invest in a piercing type, which is a yellow color, Mika and stuff. So if you are a new player or you're somewhat newish, you know, just invest in Himari and Akko. This is going to be the best time for you to play Blue Archive as well. If you're looking to reroll, just try to get Himari and Akko. I think it's doable. If you want to try to reroll, it's going to be something that is very doable for a lot of players. So definitely do not miss out on her. She is a character that consistently you will be able to use. Now if you don't have Himari, you're pretty much screwed in most Total Assault raids or most Grand Assault raids, because your only other option is Akko pair with someone else. You cannot pair Akko with New Year Fuuka because the crit damage thing doesn't stack. Pretty much your only other option is probably Kotama in that case, but like, it's quite a big difference, 47% versus 100 and something percent that Himari has. And the difference is not just in the cost, but also in this cost regen. You can definitely feel it in when you're trying to use the character. You can feel like the whole team synergy. It just makes Himari like an insane character to have in the team. So let's talk about Swimsuit Amy, alright? So since they are sharing the same banner, so Swimsuit Amy is going to be a much more niche character. Now she's niche in terms of, you can see, she's a 4-cost character that moves 6 allies with a circular area to a specified location. And she gives them shield, right? Increase attack by up to 12%. So a little bit of buff, but mostly just for the shield, alright? The buff is not that crazy. Kotama does gives more. Every 45 seconds, she can also increase attack speed of 4 allies by up to 21%. Not bad. Pretty good right there. Also can increase healing by 26% right here. And last but not least, increase attack speed of all allies. So Amy, Swimsuit Amy here is just mostly used to increase attack speed overall. Alright, she's just mostly for that particular purpose, which is very niche. Alright, attack speed is not really needed yet. Maybe later in the tower content you could use that as a benefit, but most of the time you ideally want attack percent, crit rate percent, crit damage percent. Those are the more important ones, because with the concept of right now on how we play Total Assault and Grand Assault, it makes much more sense to hyper buff one character than to give like a circular buff to all characters, because very rarely you will bring like all damage dealers, right? Now if you guys want to look into more detail, you can see right here, I believe this particular one. Big shout out to Yumi Tsuchinoko for posting this. People are also worried that you might not be able to save for the upcoming Dress Hina banner. Now I've made a video about that. Put it on the screen. I'll link it in the description below as well. Feel free to check that video out, where I go to more detail on which characters are strong or upcoming characters that you need to pull up to the July one, right? Which is the Dress Hina. So here's the thing. Dress Hina, we pretty much know that she's going to be very, very strong. 6% banner. I understand that. But do you have time to save? If you pull for Himari right now, let's say you're starting from, you have 24,000 pyroxenes right now, you have to go all in PT. If you pull right now, do you have time to save? I'm going to say yes. You probably will have enough time to save. Now, the bunnies, they are not really that important in the meta. Alright, if you care about meta, you know, you can probably skip bunnies. They are limited though. And then we have the camping characters, and then we have the New Year characters right here. Alright, these are also limited. At least 2 of these are limited, right? The rest are not in the standard. The rest are in the standard banner. And then mid-July, we're gonna have Atsuko, you know, and then late July we're gonna have the limited again with the Dress, Ako, and Iroha, and a bunch of other characters. And 100 free pulls will be given out during this particular period. And then in the later July, I would say we're gonna get the Dress Hina banner. So from now to then, we're gonna have about, I would say, 1.5 months. 1 month and 3 weeks probably for you to save. Now, is that enough for you to save up to 24,000 pyroxenes? I would say probably yeah. I assure you, they will give you at least 20 free pulls, at least. Alright? Worth in terms of pyroxenes and stuff. So you're pretty much gonna need only about 20,000 pyroxenes. 19 to 20,000. I think it's going to be very, very doable. And I don't think that Himari is a very, very influential and strong character, that it just makes it really hard. Because with how Blue Archive is, when you do raids, alright, I'm sure you guys have heard me say this before, the strategy, a very common strategy for new players on how you want to do the highest difficulty raid. Alright, this is the one that gives you the most reward. You can see up to 1,200 pyroxenes in return. You can always borrow characters. Alright, you can always borrow characters. Let me just show you guys in the mock battle. So when you borrow characters, it opens up so much possibility for you as a player. If you have Himari and Ako, because you go here to the assistant, you borrow your friends' damage dealers, or it could be your friends, could be your club members. Now having Himari and Ako built makes a lot of sense, because if you build a damage dealer, let's say you build a Mika, or let's say you build a Dress Hina, these characters, these damage dealers, they are not going to work in every single raid. Whereas Himari and Ako is going to be consistent in every single raid. So you only need to borrow the damage dealer. So you're building less characters in a way. Instead of building like each element, you're just building 2 supports, damage dealer, borrow from your friend. Like, it's just so easy to do in Blue Archive. The best way to get more pyroxenes in return is to do that. So hopefully you guys are aware of that, right? If you are somewhat of a newer player, always take advantage of the supports that you have, build them. Don't build damage dealers yet, unless it's an AoE damage dealer where you need to progress in story. But for most bosses, you need single target, so those are not going to be that good in story. Alright, so hopefully you guys are aware of what they can do, you know. Swimsuit Amy can be skipped, not too worried about that. So yeah, if you guys haven't already, subscribe, give this video a like, and I'll see you guys tomorrow during Swimsuit Amy. We're gonna try to pull. Have a nice day. Goodbye.